5:47 a.m. Cascade Point Coastal Trail. Elijah Brooks ran through the fog, counting his savings in his head. $62. 438 more to go for Mama's medication refill. Then he heard it. "Help me, please." A child's voice. Desperate. Elijah stopped, pulled out his earbuds, listened. "I'm falling!" He sprinted toward the sound. The cliff edge appeared through the fog, and his stomach dropped. A little girl, maybe 8 years old, barefoot, white nightgown torn and muddy. She was clinging to a tree root over a 40-foot drop to jagged rocks. The root cracked. Elijah didn't think. He dropped to his knees, reached over the edge. "Grab my hand, now!" Her small fingers locked onto his wrist. He pulled with everything he had. His shoulders burned. The edge crumbled beneath him. One more pull. She tumbled onto solid ground. Safe. Elijah held her while she cried. She wouldn't speak, just shook. He had no idea who she was, or that this moment would change everything. Elijah's phone had 3% battery when he dialed 911. "I found a little girl on Cascade Point Cliff Trail, mile marker 7. She almost fell. Please send someone." He wrapped her in his work hoodie while they waited. She was still trembling, eyes squeezed shut. That's when he noticed the silk nightgown, the tiny diamond earrings. This wasn't some runaway kid from his neighborhood. "What's your name?" he asked gently. She didn't answer. Her eyes stayed closed. "Can you tell me where your family is?" A whisper. "They left me. They said I'd fall. They said nobody would find me." Before Elijah could respond, sirens echoed up the trail. Paramedics rushed over, a police officer close behind. "We'll take it from here, son." The officer pulled out a notepad. "You the caller?" "Yes, sir. I heard her screaming while I was running." "Good work. Leave us your contact info in case we need follow-up." As the paramedics loaded her into the ambulance, the girl grabbed Elijah's sleeve. "Don't go." "You're safe now," he told her. She wouldn't let go until a paramedic gently pulled her hand away. Elijah noticed something strange. Through the whole rescue, the ambulance, the questions, she never opened her eyes. Not once. By 7:30 a.m., Elijah was back at the studio apartment he shared with his mother. Carmen Brooks lay in the hospital bed that took up half the room, her breathing machine humming softly. "Mijo, you're late." Her voice was weak but warm. "Just took a longer route, Mama." He helped her sit up and handed her the morning pills. 8 of them. He didn't mention the cliff, the girl, the way his hands were still shaking. While changing into his work clothes, his phone buzzed. News alert. Breaking. Harrington heiress found alive after overnight disappearance. Elijah clicked it. The same blonde girl filled his screen. But in this photo, her eyes were open, clouded, unfocused. The article explained, Sophia Harrington, 8, daughter of tech billionaire Jonathan Harrington, was recovered early this morning near Cascade Point. Sophia, who has been blind since birth, was reported missing from the family estate at 3 a.m. Authorities credit quick action by emergency services for her safe return. Blind since birth. That's why she never opened her eyes. That's why she held on to his voice. The article said nothing about him, just emergency services. No name. No mention of the rescue. He kept reading. Jonathan Harrington, founder of Harrington Technologies. Net worth, $14 billion. Elijah looked around the studio. Peeling wallpaper. One working hot plate burner. Medical bills stacked on the counter, $3,200 past due. He'd just saved a billionaire's daughter. And nobody knew his name. Across the city at the Harrington estate on Mercer Island, Jonathan Harrington sat in his study. His guide dog, Aries, rested a head on his knee. "She's safe," Victoria Chase said. Harborview checked her. Minor scrapes, mild hypothermia. She's asking for you. Jonathan exhaled slowly, 5 hours of terror releasing. Who found her? A jogger called 911. Police handled it from there. I want to meet them. Thank them. Jonathan. Victoria's tone shifted. Right now, Sophia needs you. The caller gave a statement and left. Let's focus on her recovery. Jonathan had built a $13 billion empire without seeing a single contract or face. But he could hear what others missed, and right now, he heard hesitation. Victoria, who pulled my daughter off that cliff? A pause. Too long. The report says a jogger. Male, 17. He didn't want media attention. Get me his name. Jonathan, I really think... My daughter was missing for 2 hours. His voice went cold. Someone saved her life. I want to know who. Another pause. I'll look into it, Victoria said quietly. After she left, Jonathan sat in silence. Aries whined softly, sensing his tension. She's lying, isn't she, boy? He didn't need the dog to answer. After 12 years working together, Jonathan knew when Victoria was hiding something. He just didn't know why. 3 days passed. Elijah spent them trimming hedges in Bellevue, pulling weeds in Redmond, mowing lawns in neighborhoods where the garbage cans cost more than his rent. His hands blistered. His shoulders ached. Every night, he came home to count tips and calculate how many more weeks until Mama's next treatment. On Thursday afternoon, he was edging a driveway when his coworker Miguel called over. Yo, Elijah, you see this? Miguel held up his phone. That billionaire's kid they found on the cliff. Wild, right? Elijah kept his head down, focused on the trimmer. Yeah, wild. Says she's blind. Been missing since 3 in the morning. They're saying it might have been a kidnapping attempt. What are they saying? The article says some hero pulled her up right before she fell. Cops won't release the name. Miguel grinned. Probably some off-duty firefighter or something. Bet he got a fat reward. Elijah said nothing. Their boss, a man named Dale with a permanent scowl, walked over. Brooks, you're behind schedule. The Hendersons want their lawn done by 5. Yes, sir. Almost finished here. Almost doesn't cut it. You've been distracted all week. One more slip and I'm cutting your hours. Elijah nodded, kept working. Didn't mention that he'd been up since 4:30 a.m. because Mama had a bad night. Didn't mention the cliff or the girl or the fact that his hands were still sore from holding onto her wrist while gravity tried to rip her away. Just trimmed the hedge. Stayed invisible. That evening, Elijah sat on the apartment floor with his phone, scrolling through news articles while Mama slept. Every major outlet had covered Sophia's rescue. Photos of the Harrington estate. Interviews with neighbors. A statement from Jonathan Harrington thanking the community for their support. Not one word about Elijah. The Seattle Times article quoted a police spokesman. We're grateful to the first responders and medical personnel who acted quickly to ensure Sophia's safe return. First responders. Medical personnel. Elijah had called 911. The paramedics had shown up after she was already safe. He clicked on a video. Press conference from earlier that day. Jonathan Harrington stood at a podium, his guide dog beside him, Victoria Chase at his shoulder. My family is deeply grateful, Jonathan said, his voice steady despite the emotion underneath. Sophia is home. She's safe. That's all that matters. We want to thank the Seattle Police Department, Harborview Medical Center, and everyone who helped bring her back to us. The reporters shouted questions. Victoria leaned into the microphone. The family asks for privacy during this time. No further questions. Elijah paused the video, stared at Jonathan's face. The man had no idea. Nobody did. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. The message was short. You did a good thing. Keep it that way. Don't talk to the media. Don't contact the family. Your mother's medical coverage depends on steady income. Be smart. Elijah's chest went cold. Another buzz. We're watching. He stared at the screen. Someone knew. Someone was threatening him. And they knew about Mama's insurance, her treatments, the bills that were already drowning them. He should delete the texts. Forget it. Move on. But the image of Sophia's hand gripping his sleeve wouldn't leave him. Her whispered voice. They left me. They said I'd fall. Who left her? And why didn't anyone want him talking about it? Elijah opened his email, typed carefully. To info@harringtontech.com. Subject, Cascade Point Rescue. My name is Elijah Brooks. I'm the person who found your daughter on the cliff 3 days ago. I pulled her up before the paramedics arrived. I'm not looking for attention or money, but I think Mr. Harrington should know what Sophia told me that morning. She said someone left her there. She said they told her she'd fall and nobody would find her. I think someone tried to hurt her, and I think you should know. He hesitated, finger over the send button. The threats echoed in his head. His mother's medication schedule, the bills, the fragile thread holding their lives together. But Sophia's voice was louder. Elijah hit send. 2 minutes later, his phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Big mistake. 4 days after Elijah sent the email, his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. After the threats, every unknown call felt like danger, but something made him pick up. Is this Elijah Brooks? A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. Yes. This is Victoria Chase calling on behalf of Jonathan Harrington. Mr. Harrington would like to meet you in person. Are you available tomorrow at 2 p.m.? Elijah's heart jumped. He got my email? Mr. Harrington received your message, yes. Can you confirm your availability? I have work until... We'll make it worth your time. Her tone didn't change. Efficient. Transactional. The address is 4725 Evergreen Point Road, Mercer Island. Security will have your name. Don't be late. She hung up before he could ask anything else. Elijah stared at his phone. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. meant missing his afternoon shift. Dale would be furious. But this was Jonathan Harrington. Maybe he'd actually listen. Maybe he'd help with Mama's bills. Maybe... Mijo, who was that? Carmen asked from the bed. Someone who wants to meet me. About the girl? Elijah nodded. Carmen smiled, weak but proud. Then you go. You tell them the truth. That night she helped him iron his one church shirt, white cotton, frayed at the collar but clean, his only pair of khakis, shoes he'd worn to his high school graduation 2 years ago, scuffed but polished. He looked at himself in the mirror and felt like a kid playing dress-up. The next day, Elijah took 3 buses to reach Mercer Island, 90 minutes each way. The neighborhoods changed as he traveled east, smaller houses, then bigger ones, then estates hidden behind gates and trees. By the time he reached Evergreen Point Road, he was in a different world. The Harrington estate sat behind iron gates with security cameras on every post. Elijah gave his name to the guard, who checked a tablet and nodded. You're expected. Follow the drive to the main house. The gates opened. Elijah walked up a driveway longer than his entire block. Manicured lawns, sculptures that looked like they belonged in museums, an infinity pool that seemed to pour into Lake Washington itself. The house, no, the mansion, was all glass and steel and sharp angles that screamed money. A woman waited at the entrance. Tall, blonde, mid-40s, wearing a gray suit that probably cost more than Elijah made in 6 months. Her smile was polite but didn't reach her eyes. Elijah Brooks? Yes, ma'am. Victoria Chase. I'm Mr. Harrington's chief operating officer. She shook his hand briefly, assessing him, his worn shoes, his cheap shirt. Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting me. Mr. Harrington is finishing a call. It shouldn't be long. She gestured inside. While we wait, Sophia has been asking about you. Would you like to see her first? Elijah blinked. She's been asking about me? Every day since the rescue. Victoria's expression didn't change. She won't stop talking about the boy with the kind voice. I believe those were her words. Something in her tone felt off, too controlled, too careful. I'd like that, Elijah said. Follow me. She led him through the mansion. Marble floors, art on every wall, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. Elijah tried not to stare, tried to act like he belonged here, but every step reminded him he didn't. This wasn't his world. And from the way Victoria glanced back at him, cool, calculating, she wanted him to know it. Victoria led Elijah down a hallway lined with family portraits and awards. She stopped at a blue door, knocked twice. Sophia? Someone's here to see you. I don't want visitors, came a small voice. Not even the boy who saved you? The door flew open. Sophia Harrington stood there in a yellow dress, blonde hair in a ponytail. Her eyes, clouded, unfocused, stared past Elijah's shoulder. Say something, she whispered. Hi, Sophia. It's you! She lunged forward and hugged his legs so hard he stumbled. It's really you! The boy from the cliff! Elijah froze, unsure what to do. Slowly, he rested his hands on her shoulders. Sophia pulled back, tilting her head up even though she couldn't see him. You came. Miss Victoria said she couldn't find you. I thought you were gone forever. I'm here, Elijah said quietly. Sophia grabbed his hand and pulled him into her room. She sat him on a window bench, still gripping his hand like he might vanish. I knew you'd sound like this. Kind. That's what I told Daddy. Her face grew serious. You didn't let go when I was falling. Anyone would have done the same. No, people walked past before you. I heard footsteps. I screamed, but nobody stopped. Only you. She leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper. I need to tell you something. Sophia. Victoria stepped forward. You need to rest. Miss Victoria woke me up really early, Sophia said quickly. She said Daddy needed me. She put me in the car. Then a man got in. A stranger. They gave me juice, but it tasted wrong. I got so sleepy. Elijah's pulse quickened. What happened then? I woke up on the rocks, cold, my feet hurt, and I heard the car leaving. I heard Miss Victoria's voice say, It'll look like an accident. Sophia, that's enough. Victoria's hand landed on the girl's shoulder, firm. You're confused. The trauma is making you remember things that didn't happen. I'm not confused. I know her voice. Sweetheart, I was in a board meeting all night. There are witnesses. Victoria's tone was ice. Your mind is trying to make sense of something terrible. Tears streamed down Sophia's face. I'm not wrong. Victoria, that's enough. A man stood in the doorway, tall, gray at the temples, commanding presence. His German shepherd guide dog stood alert at his side. Daddy! Sophia ran to him. Jonathan Harrington caught her, held her close. I'm here, sweetheart. He looked toward Victoria. Give us the room. Victoria's jaw tightened. Jonathan, now. She left. The door clicked shut. Jonathan knelt to Sophia's level. Go find Maria in the kitchen. Ask her for hot chocolate. I need to talk to this young man alone. But Daddy... Just for a few minutes. Then you can come back, I promise. Sophia hesitated, then nodded. She turned toward Elijah. Don't leave without saying goodbye. I won't. After she left, Jonathan stood. His eyes focused past Elijah's shoulder, but his attention was absolute. You're Elijah Brooks. Yes, sir. My daughter's alive because of you. His voice was thick with emotion. Tell me what happened. Everything. Elijah told him. The fog, the screaming, the cliff edge, Sophia's whispered words about being left there. Jonathan listened, hands folded in his lap. They were shaking. What she just told you about Victoria. Do you believe her? Dangerous territory. Victoria Chase was powerful. He was nobody. But Sophia's voice echoed. I'm not wrong. I don't know, Elijah said honestly. But I know she believes it. And someone threatened me when I tried to contact you. Jonathan's head snapped toward him. Threatened you how? Elijah pulled out his phone, read the texts aloud. You did a good thing. Keep it that way. Don't talk to the media. Don't contact the family. Your mother's medical coverage depends on steady income. Jonathan's face went hard. When? The night I emailed your company. And you came here anyway. Jonathan moved to the window, pressed his hand against the glass. My daughter has been through trauma. Her mind might be... He stopped, shook his head. No, I won't dismiss her. Not without proof. He turned back. How old are you? 17, sir. You work? Landscaping. Odd jobs. Your mother. The medical coverage mentioned in that threat. What does she need? She has MS. The treatments are expensive. We're behind on bills. Jonathan pulled out his phone, activated the voice assistant. Call Patricia Lowe. A dial tone. A woman answered. Patricia, I need full medical coverage for Carmen Brooks. MS patient. Every treatment covered, no limits. And a cashier's check for $10,000 delivered today. Jonathan, what's... I'm paying a debt. He ended the call, turned to Elijah. Your mother's treatments are covered. The check handles your bills. Elijah couldn't breathe. Sir, I can't... You saved my daughter's life. This is the least I can do. But I want to offer more. A job. My personal assistant. $45,000 a year. You'll help with tasks that require sight. Reading documents, organizing files. I don't have experience. You have integrity. That's rarer. Jonathan extended his hand. Do we have a deal? Elijah stared at the hand. This didn't happen to people like him, but he thought of Mama. The bills, the worry in her eyes. He shook Jonathan's hand. Yes, sir. Thank you. You start Monday. Victoria will arrange everything. After Jonathan left, Elijah sat alone looking out at the lake. He wanted to call Mama, tell her everything was okay. He didn't see Victoria in the hallway. Didn't hear her pull out her phone. Didn't hear her whisper, We have a problem. The boy's not going away. Handle it. 8 weeks later, Elijah's life looked nothing like it used to. He woke up in the same studio apartment, but now there was a new hospital bed for Mama. A better one. And her medication came on time, every time, in neat, organized rows. No more choosing between pills and rent. Every weekday, he took the bus to Mercer Island. Jonathan's office was on the second floor, overlooking the lake. Elijah's job was simple. Be Jonathan's eyes. Read contracts aloud. Describe graphs and charts. Organize files. Schedule meetings. The quarterly report shows a 3% increase in the cloud services division, Elijah would say, and Jonathan would nod, fingers moving across his braille display. It was easy work compared to landscaping. His hands stopped blistering. His shoulders stopped aching. The media ran a follow-up story. Local teen hero gets second chance after saving billionaire's daughter. There was a photo of Elijah and Sophia in the garden, her hand in his. The headline made him uncomfortable, but Mama cried happy tears when she saw it. Every Friday, Elijah visited Sophia. She'd drag him to the piano and make him listen to her practice. She was learning a Chopin nocturne, fingers dancing across the keys with absolute confidence. How do you memorize all that? Elijah asked once. I don't memorize. I feel it. She smiled. You taught me that. I didn't teach you anything. You did. On the cliff. You told me to hold on. You didn't let go even when I was slipping. That's what I do with music. I'll hold on. Elijah didn't know what to say to that. But one Friday afternoon in late August, something felt wrong. Elijah was reviewing security logs for Jonathan when he noticed a gap. The night Sophia disappeared, footage from the estate's perimeter cameras was corrupted. All of it. 6 hours. Gone. He asked Victoria about it during a staff meeting. Technical glitch, she said without looking up from her tablet. I'd already filed a report. But 6 hours? All the cameras? It happens. Server malfunction. Her tone was flat. Final. Is there anything else? Elijah let it drop. But that night, Sophia had another nightmare. Maria, the housekeeper, mentioned it to Elijah the next day. She keeps dreaming about Miss Victoria, Maria whispered. She wakes up crying, saying she hears her voice. Nobody will find you. Over and over. Elijah felt something cold settle in his stomach. 6 hours of missing footage. Sophia's dreams. The threats on his phone. Victoria's face when she said technical glitch. Something was very wrong. The email came on a Tuesday morning in September. Elijah was reading financial reports to Jonathan when Victoria appeared in the doorway. Jonathan, we have a situation. Conference room, now. Her voice was ice. Jonathan's face tightened. What kind of situation? The kind that requires legal counsel. 20 minutes later, Elijah sat across from Jonathan, Victoria, and 2 men in expensive suits. Corporate lawyers. The kind Elijah had only seen on TV. Mr. Brooks, the older lawyer began, sliding a folder across the table. We've discovered irregularities in our financial system. Unauthorized access to executive accounts. Elijah's stomach dropped. I don't understand. Victoria opened her tablet, turned it so Jonathan could hear. Audio log from our security system. September 7th, 11:47 p.m. Someone using Elijah's login credentials accessed restricted financial files. A robotic voice read timestamps and file names. Elijah's username appeared over and over. I've never accessed those files. I don't even know how. The system doesn't lie, Victoria said coldly. She slid a printout toward Jonathan. And this morning, our auditors found a transfer. $50,000 moved to an offshore account. The routing information traces back to an account opened in Elijah's name 3 weeks ago. That's impossible. I never opened any account. The younger lawyer spoke. Mr. Brooks, we have documentation. Your social security number, your address, your signature. Then someone forged it. Elijah. Jonathan's voice was quiet, strained. Is there anything you want to tell me? Mr. Harrington, I swear I didn't do this. Someone's setting me up. Victoria's expression didn't change. Jonathan, I know this is difficult. You trusted him. But the evidence is clear. Let me see the transfer records, Jonathan said. Victoria read them aloud. Account numbers, timestamps, transaction codes, all of it pointing to Elijah. Jonathan's hands were flat on the table. His jaw worked like he was chewing glass. Elijah, you've been through hardship. Financial pressure can make people do things they wouldn't normally. I didn't steal from you. Then explain the offshore account. I can't. Because I didn't open it. The room fell silent. Finally, Jonathan spoke. Victoria, what are our options? We're prepared to handle this quietly. Elijah resigns, signs an NDA, and we don't press charges. He walks away. No criminal record, no media attention. And if I refuse? Elijah's voice shook. The older lawyer answered. Then we file charges, wire fraud, identity theft. You're looking at federal prison time. Elijah stared at Jonathan. You really think I'd do this? After everything? Jonathan's face was in pain and doubt. I want to believe you, but the evidence is fake. Someone planted it. Elijah. Victoria's tone sharpened. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Sign the papers. Move on with your life. I want to talk to Sophia. Absolutely not, Victoria said. Why not? She'll tell you I wouldn't. She's a child who's been through trauma. We're not dragging her into this. Victoria stood. You have until the end of business today to decide. Sign the NDA or we file charges. She left. The lawyers followed. Elijah and Jonathan sat alone. Mr. Harrington, please. You know me. I would never... I don't know what to believe anymore. Jonathan's voice cracked. My daughter was nearly killed. Someone in my organization is lying to me. I can't see faces, can't see evidence. I have to trust what people tell me. And right now, everything is telling me. He stopped, shook his head. I'm sorry, Elijah. I have to let you go. The words hit like a punch. Effective immediately, security will escort you out. Your final paycheck will be direct deposited. Mr. Harrington, I'm sorry. Jonathan stood and left the room. His guide dog led him away. Elijah sat alone at the conference table, staring at the NDA in front of him. 2 security guards appeared. One of them pulled out scissors and cut Elijah's ID badge in half, right there, in front of him. Let's go. They walked him through the building, past co-workers who wouldn't meet his eyes, past the office where he used to work, down the elevator, out the front doors, into the parking lot where the press was already waiting. Someone had tipped them off. Elijah, is it true you embezzled from Jonathan Harrington? Did you exploit his disability to steal from him? Was the rescue a setup? Cameras flashed, microphones shoved in his face. Elijah pushed through them, kept walking. By the time he got home, the story was everywhere. Harrington's hero assistant, caught embezzling $50K. Teen who saved billionaire's daughter accused of fraud. Was the Cliff rescue a con? The articles were brutal. They dug into his background, his poverty, his mother's medical bills. They painted him as a desperate kid who saw an opportunity and took it. The comments were worse. He was using them from the start. Poor kid saves rich girl, gets greedy. Tale as old as time. I knew something was off about him. Elijah's phone rang. Dale, his old landscaping boss. Brooks, I just saw the news. Don't bother coming back. I can't have a thief on my crew. Click. Another call. The pharmacy. Mr. Brooks, we're calling about your mother's prescription. Her insurance was canceled this morning. The medication will be $840 out of pocket. Elijah's vision blurred. What? The coverage through Harrington Technologies has been terminated. Will you be paying today or... He hung up. Mama was in the kitchen, watching the news on her tablet. Tears streamed down her face. Mijo, what happened? They're lying, Mama. All of it. I didn't steal anything. I know you didn't. She reached for him. I know. But knowing didn't matter. The insurance was gone. The job was gone. His name was destroyed. That night, Sophia called his phone. He almost didn't answer. Elijah? Her voice was small, scared. Elijah, please. Tell Daddy you didn't do it. He'll believe you. I tried, Sophia. He didn't believe me. Because Miss Victoria showed him fake papers. She's lying. She's the one who... Sophia, sweetheart, come away from the phone. Victoria's voice in the background, distant but clear. No, Elijah didn't steal. Miss Victoria is lying. Daddy, please. The line went dead. Elijah sat on the floor of the apartment, phone in his hand, and let himself feel it. The injustice, the betrayal, the weight of a system designed to crush people like him. He'd done everything right, saved a life, told the truth, worked hard, And it didn't matter. Because when the powerful decide you're guilty, evidence doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter. You just lose. 3 days after the firing, Elijah received an encrypted email. Subject: You're not the first. My name is David Park. Victoria Chase destroyed my career too. We need to talk. Meet me at Pike Place Market, Starbucks on Post Alley, tomorrow 3 p.m. Come alone. Delete this email. Elijah stared at the message. It could be a trap, another setup. But what did he have left to lose? He deleted the email and went. David Park was Korean-American, early 30s, wearing a Seahawks cap and glasses. He sat in the corner with 2 coffees already waiting. You're Elijah. How did you know? Your face is all over the news. David slid a coffee across. 6 months ago, that was me. What happened? I was CFO at Harrington Technologies. I noticed irregularities in the financials. Money moving through shell companies, offshore accounts. I went to Jonathan with my concerns. David's jaw tightened. 2 weeks later, I was accused of insider trading. Evidence appeared out of nowhere. My career was over. Victoria. She's been embezzling for years. I couldn't prove it then. But I've been digging ever since. David pulled out a tablet. Look. He showed Elijah spreadsheets, transaction records, patterns of money moving through dummy corporations, all leading back to accounts in the Cayman Islands. $68 million, stolen over 4 years. Elijah's eyes widened. Jonathan doesn't know? He can't see the records. He relies on audio summaries. Victoria controls what he hears. David swiped to another file. Here's the problem. She's careful, deletes trails, but she made one mistake. What? You. David pulled up Elijah's fake offshore account. She created this to frame you, but she rushed, left digital fingerprints. The account was opened from an IP address inside Harrington Technologies, Victoria's office. Can you prove that? I have fragments, but we need more. We need access to Jonathan's private server. It has the complete audit trail. Everything Victoria deleted from the main system is backed up there. How do we get to it? We can't. Only Jonathan and Victoria have access. David leaned forward. But there's something else. The night Sophia disappeared, I pulled cell tower data. He showed Elijah a map, red dots marking cell phone pings. Victoria's phone was at Cascade Point at 5:20 a.m., 40 minutes before Sophia was reported missing from the estate. Elijah's breath caught. She really did it. She tried to kill that little girl to cover up the embezzlement. Jonathan was about to do a routine audit. Victoria panicked. David closed the tablet. But we can't prove it without that server access. What about Sophia? She's a witness. She's 8 years old and blind. Victoria's already planted the idea that trauma is making her confused. Who's going to believe her over a COO with 12 years of loyalty? Elijah slumped back. So what do? We find another way in. That night, a package arrived at Elijah's apartment. No return address. Inside was a child's drawing. Stick figures. One labeled Miss Victoria, holding a briefcase full of money. Another labeled Bad Man driving a car. And a small figure on a cliff edge labeled Me. At the bottom, in careful handwriting, she took Daddy's money. She wanted me to fall. I remember the car. I remember her voice. Please help Daddy see. Beneath the note was a folded piece of paper, a security code, and one word, Maria. Elijah called David immediately. The housekeeper. She believes Sophia. Can we trust her? She's been with the family for 15 years. If anyone can get us access to that server, it's her. 2 days later, Maria handed Elijah a USB drive in the parking lot of a grocery store. Her hands were shaking. Sophia asked me to help. She said you're the only one who believed her. Maria's eyes were wet. That little girl has been having nightmares every night. She's scared of Miss Victoria, but no one listens. Please, fix this. We will, Elijah promised. The USB drive contained complete financial records. Every deleted transaction, every offshore account, every forged document. David spent 6 hours analyzing it. This is it. This is everything we need. Wire transfers in Victoria's name. Shell companies registered to her relatives. The fake accounts she created to frame you and me. He looked up. We can prove all of it. How do we get this to Jonathan? Victoria controls everything around him. David smiled grimly. We don't go to Jonathan. Then who? The FBI. David filed the complaint with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division on a Monday morning. By Wednesday, 2 federal agents were sitting in a conference room at Harrington Technologies. Jonathan didn't know yet. Victoria had intercepted the initial contact and tried to handle it herself, but the agents insisted on speaking directly with the CEO. Mr. Harrington, Agent Sarah Carter said, we have evidence suggesting large-scale embezzlement from your company over the past 4 years. We need your cooperation. Jonathan's face went pale. How much? $68 million. Silence. Who? Jonathan's voice was barely a whisper. We'd prefer not to say until we've completed our investigation. But we need access to your private server, the backup files. Victoria spoke up quickly. Jonathan, this is highly irregular. We should consult our legal team before... Get me the access codes, Jonathan said. Jonathan. Now, Victoria. Agent Carter's partner, Agent Marcus Webb, set up a laptop. Jonathan provided his authentication codes. Within minutes, they were pulling files. Victoria's face remained perfectly calm, but Elijah, watching from the doorway where David had positioned him, saw her hand grip her phone. Mr. Harrington, Agent Carter said carefully, are you aware of offshore accounts linked to your company? No, all our accounts should be domestic. We're showing 17 offshore entities, all created in the past 4 years, all receiving regular transfers from your operating budget. Jonathan's hands curled into fists. Show me the authorization signatures. Agent Webb pulled up the documents, read the names aloud. Every single one was Victoria Chase. The room went silent. Victoria, Jonathan said quietly, tell me this isn't real. Jonathan, I can explain. These accounts are for... Don't. His voice cut like glass. Don't lie to me. Not now. I'm not lying. These are legitimate business. Then why didn't I know about them? Jonathan stood. His guide dog, Aries, immediately moved to his side. Why are they in your name? Why are federal agents in my building? Victoria's composure cracked, just slightly. You don't understand the pressure I've been under, keeping this company running while you... While I what? While I'm blind? Jonathan's voice rose. So you stole from me? You exploited my disability to embezzle $68 million? I earned that money. I built this company as much as you did. You got the credit, the recognition, while I did the actual work. And my daughter? Jonathan's voice went deadly quiet. Did you earn the right to try to kill her too? Victoria frozen. That's ridiculous. I would never... Cell tower records put your phone at Cascade Point the morning Sophia disappeared. David Park stepped into the room, Elijah beside him. 40 minutes before she was reported missing. Victoria's eyes locked on Elijah. Pure hatred. You! The FBI has the data, David continued. Your phone, your car's GPS. The sedative found in Sophia's bloodstream matches a prescription filled in your name 2 weeks before the incident. This is a setup. They're fabricating... We also have this. David held up the USB drive. Complete financial records, every transaction you deleted, every shell company, every forged signature, including the fake offshore account you created to frame Elijah Brooks. Agent Carter stood. Victoria Chase, you're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, attempted murder, and conspiracy. Jonathan, please, listen to me. No. Jonathan's voice broke. I trusted you. For 12 years. I gave you access to everything. And you used my blindness against me. You tried to kill my daughter to hide your crimes. You destroyed innocent people's lives to protect yourself. Agent Webb moved behind Victoria, pulled out handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. Victoria lunged for the door. Agent Carter blocked her path. Get your hands off me. Do you know who I am? I have lawyers. I have connections. Jonathan, tell them. I have nothing to say to you. Jonathan turned away from her voice. Except this. He faced the room, faced the direction he thought the cameras were. I was blind to what mattered most. Who tells the truth? His hands were shaking. I couldn't see Victoria's face, couldn't see her stealing from me, couldn't see her planning to murder my daughter. But I could hear Sophia telling me the truth. I could hear Elijah telling me the truth. And I chose not to listen. Victoria was screaming now as the agents cuffed her. You're nothing without me. You're blind. You need me. I am blind, Jonathan said quietly. But I'm not deaf anymore. They led Victoria out. Her screaming echoed down the hallway until the elevator doors closed. Jonathan stood in the silence that followed. Then he turned toward where Elijah was standing. You're here. I can hear your breathing. Yes, sir. I failed you. I let someone manipulate my disability to hide evil. I let her destroy your life because I was too proud to admit I'd been fooled. Jonathan's voice cracked. I'm sorry. That word isn't enough, but it's all I have. Mr. Harrington, let me finish. Jonathan took a breath. You saved my daughter's life. Twice. Once on that cliff. And again by refusing to stay silent when everyone told you to. You risked everything, your job, your mother's care, your future, to tell the truth. He pulled out his phone, pressed a button. Patricia, arrange a press conference immediately. I need to make a public statement. 30 minutes later, Jonathan stood in front of cameras and reporters. Elijah stood beside him, David on his other side. The story had already leaked. Victoria Chase arrested at Harrington Technologies. I'm here to correct a grave injustice, Jonathan began. 2 weeks ago, a young man named Elijah Brooks was accused of embezzlement. He was fired. His reputation was destroyed. The media called him a con artist. The cameras focused on Elijah. Elijah Brooks is not a criminal. He is a hero. He saved my daughter's life when she was left to die on a cliff. He tried to warn me that someone in my organization was lying to me. And when that person framed him for crimes he didn't commit, he didn't run. He didn't hide. He fought for the truth. Jonathan's voice strengthened. Victoria Chase, my former COO, embezzled $68 million. When she realized I was about to discover the theft, she attempted to murder my 8-year-old daughter. She failed because Elijah Brooks heard my daughter's cries and ran toward danger instead of away from it. He turned toward Elijah. I owe you an apology that I can never fully repay. I owe you my daughter's life. I owe you justice. A reporter shouted, Mr. Harrington, how did you not know this was happening? Because I'm blind. And Victoria Chase spent 12 years learning exactly how to exploit that. She controlled what information reached me. She isolated me from the truth. She made me believe the people who were trying to help me were actually trying to hurt me. Jonathan paused. But I learned something. Being blind doesn't mean you can't see the truth. It means you have to listen harder. Trust deeper. And when someone like Elijah risks everything to tell you you're wrong, you listen. The press conference lasted another 20 minutes. Questions about Victoria, about the FBI investigation, about Sophia. When it ended, Elijah and Jonathan walked back inside together. What happens now? Elijah asked. Now? Jonathan smiled for the first time. Now we make sure this never happens to anyone else, and we make sure you get the future you deserve. 4 months later, Elijah sat in a federal courtroom as the judge read Victoria Chase's sentence. 18 years in federal prison for embezzlement, wire fraud, attempted murder, and conspiracy. Victoria stared straight ahead. No emotion, no remorse. As they led her away in handcuffs, she glanced once at Elijah. Her eyes said, "You destroyed me." His eyes said, "You destroyed yourself." Carmen sat beside him in the gallery, healthy for the first time in years. The new MS treatments were working. She squeezed his hand. "It's over, mijo." "Yeah, Mama, it's over." The next day, Jonathan held a press conference at the Harrington Foundation headquarters. "I'm announcing the creation of the Elijah Brooks Foundation for Truth Tellers. $10 million dedicated to supporting whistleblowers, the wrongly accused, and people who suffer consequences for doing the right thing." Cameras flashed. "This foundation will cover legal fees, lost wages, and medical expenses for people who tell uncomfortable truths and pay the price for it. Because Elijah Brooks nearly lost everything for saving my daughter's life and refusing to stay silent about injustice." Jonathan turned toward Elijah, who stood beside him on the stage. "I'd like Elijah to serve as the foundation's director. Full salary, benefits, and a complete college scholarship to any university he chooses." Elijah stepped to the microphone, hands shaking. "I accept, but on one condition." Jonathan smiled. "Name it." "I want to help people who can't see a way out. The way I almost couldn't. Not as charity, as partners, as equals." The room erupted in applause. 6 months after that, Elijah stood at the edge of Cascade Point Cliff. It looked different now. The city had installed safety fencing and emergency call boxes. A small memorial plaque read, "In honor of those who run toward danger, not away. In memory of kindness that changes everything." "It's beautiful," Sophia said beside him. She was 9 now, taller, more confident. She held a white cane in one hand and Elijah's hand in the other. "Can you read it to me again?" Elijah read the plaque aloud. "That's you," Sophia said. "You ran toward danger. So did you. You told the truth even when nobody believed you." Jonathan approached, Aries at his side. "Ready to head back?" They walked together down the trail, the three of them side by side. Not billionaire and employee, not rescued and rescuer. Family. Elijah looked back once at the cliff edge where everything had changed, where a split-second decision to help a stranger had cost him everything and given him everything. "Thank you," Sophia said quietly. "For what?" "For stopping. For listening. For not walking past like everyone else." Elijah squeezed her hand. Always. 2 years later. Elijah stood at Cascade Point on a Saturday morning. The cliff looked different now. Safety fencing, emergency call boxes, families walking the memorial trail. He wasn't alone. Carmen stood beside him, healthier than she'd been in a decade. Sophia practiced her cane skills on the path, confident and laughing. Jonathan threw a tennis ball for Aries. The Elijah Brooks Foundation had helped 93 people so far. Whistleblowers who lost jobs for telling the truth. Good Samaritans punished for helping strangers. People who did the right thing and paid the price. Just like Elijah almost did. He was a sophomore at the University of Washington now, studying engineering. Every weekend he worked at the foundation, making sure no one faced injustice alone. Sophia ran over, breathless. "Elijah, read the plaque again." He knelt beside her. "You've memorized it already." "I know, but I like how you say it." He read aloud, "In honor of those who run toward danger, not away." Sophia smiled. "That's you." "That's all of us," Elijah said. Because that morning on the cliff didn't just save one life. It reminded everyone watching that kindness matters, that truth matters, that one person choosing to stop, to listen, to help, can change everything. Sophia took his hand. Ready to go home? Yeah, let's go home. If this story moved you, like and subscribe for more stories about ordinary people choosing extraordinary kindness. Comment below. Have you ever helped a stranger? What happened?